All right, y'all. This is going to be a short video because we have just been chatting up kid ministry stuff and having a good time. That we are on chapters 5 and 6. I highlighted a couple things on a post the other day about questions to think about. And so the first one, Kristen, Anna, Wendy, is do you know how your parents prefer to communicate?
A lot of I actually asked them I did this year I sent home a parent sheet. I often have like that kind of stuff. It's text message or email. Some prefer phone calls, but I can't do the phone calls. There's too many people to call every week. So yeah, no, we do text or email. I do find, and I've got most of them in my phone now, but I used to have pastor's line, but I didn't know how to use it. So I didn't use it well. And then I did it for youth and I was like, why did I not do this sooner? And now I'm looking at getting it back because it was phenomenal.
Is it an app?
Yeah, it's called Pastor's Line. So you get for free, you can get X amount of credits, which is I think every text message you send or receive back each month or something. And you input. So if you use Planning Center, you can input like the list of your parents and you can set up that like list of parents and then it just inputs it into the system. And you can just send out group chats that say like this week, this is what we're learning, or here's something to do at home. And parents can hit text stop and it ends the thing and they get taken off the list. So it allows them to opt out if they don't want to. But it is, I used it with youth because they'd already been using the system. And I was like, this is so easy. I write one text message and I type it because I hate texting. Like I get so frustrated. My words are never the right them supposed to be. I got random letters everywhere. So I type it in, hit send, and it goes. And you can put it on your phone. I broke the system when I put it on my phone. So, but it's just like it pops up on you can keep a web browser. And then people can reply to that number and ask questions or tell you things. So it's great. Our church uses it for a variety of different things. They've used it for during the sermon when they're like, hey, you got questions, you can text this number. And so you get like a specific number. So it's not your personal stuff, especially if you're looking to create that boundary between personal and not.
And there's a boundary. Is it free or no?
It's kind of like all the other things. There's free to a certain amount, I believe. And then after a certain amount, you have to start if you want more credits. If you send a lot of text messages or you get a lot back, like our church, I think has like 3 or 4 different numbers. So I think we have to pay for it.
Okay.
But there's a couple. I know she mentioned some here. I think I've seen them on the Facebook, I Love Kidmin or whatever it is now, Kids Matter Facebook page.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 other ones that you can use. I also just keep all the parents' numbers in my phone and send out a random, hey, tonight we have this going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have never asked. I'm an emailer because I can put more information in an email than in a text message. But we are now using Subsplash. We did our website. Now they're doing our database and they have a notifications. I just have to make a group. So it just goes to the parents and I just haven't done that yet. But I like that Pastor's Line app. I want to look at that because I need to do better at texting. Well, and I've never asked them.
It's great for reminders.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would send like lengthy information, but it's great to be like, hey, we have the Christmas service at 10 o'clock today, or, kids' Christmas party, bring this. I do it for my bridge parents often. Which is our grade 4 or 5 group. I'll send the reminders, or I was supposed to do it. We had our Christmas play yesterday. Lots of parents forgot because I forgot to remind. So.
Okay. I like I would like to be able to group text people because I've got, not a ton of individual families, but we have up to like, I think we have, I don't know, 50, 60 families. And so sending 50 to 60 individual texts is whatever. Oh, I was going to say to you earlier, like your typos, whatever you're talking about. I bet if you use Chat GPT, you wouldn't have that issue.
Imagine how wonderful they'd sound too. Like, hey guys, lots to hear. This is what we're doing.
No, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, my thing, I don't know about you guys. I feel like we've talked about this before in one of our book clubs, is it's not an issue, but like we have so many generations raising kids right now. from boomers. I think boomers, I don't know, that like grandparents raising grandkids, not boomers, that's too far back, but you know what I mean? Like grandparents are raising kids. And so they like the paper stuff. And then you've got, Gen X and millennials who are more digitally minded, more email-ish. And then, I feel like right after, who's after millennials? What's that next generation? Is that Gen Z?
Think
I
so.
don't know. Whatever the different generations are, I feel like they're more like, they're not about email, they're about Instagram, and they don't even care for Facebook that much. Their Twitter, Instagram, are more much younger parents right now. So I feel like we have such a vast group of people to reach out to, at least I do at our church. It's hard, like just digital doesn't work for us. And, you can also cover every single area and you're still going to get someone that goes, well, I didn't know, that happens. But I just feel like we have a large area of generational people to cover and ways they want to be reached. So, I mean, I agree digital's kind of like the happy all medium, but I don't think we have just one way. Other than I'd say I definitely mark off take-home sheets because they just end up everywhere in my church building but home. So that'd be the one I'd cross off. But email,
I think my preschool,
Yeah.
like my 2 to 4 year olds take them because they go straight to mom and dad.
Yeah.
But we now actually put anything we've done and we put them in duotangs, and then at the end of the year they take their duotangs home and the parents can go through them with their kids and kind of talk about what that stuff was. So any prayer sheets, any lesson sheets, I'll go there because then they don't go.
Duotang.
A duotang. And do you not know what that is?
Never heard of it.
Oh my goodness. Well, now we have found our first one of many. They are, what do you guys call them? They're 3-pronged folders
Like
of some.
binder.
No, just a second.
The folder.
Oh, does it have the little metal things that? Yeah.
I think that's what she's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you need?
This is what we call a duotang.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So
I
we put
didn't know-
stuff in here. I forgot about that. That's a Canadian thing. Yeah, we have duotangs.
That's cool though. That's a good idea.
It cuts back on the paper trails that are left around the church in the minivans. And then I also, if I know that they're learning something, so like say we did the examine prayer, I will then post it on Instagram and be like, here's how you can do it at home. I'll send it in. So that goes in our e-news as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll also I do a once a month, and I'm working on now adding like a parent feature where we can include so that they're not just seeing it in 6 months when the kids are like, I don't know what that was.
Right.
They're like, oh, hey, we did this. Here's something we can do with it. So
That's cool. And now I know the word, like I know what that thing's called.
I just learned a Canadian word.
Yes. I have a Canadian friend. I'm gonna tell her I've got so many duotangs in my office.
you a Saskatchewan word too that isn't in the rest of Canada. And I learned this when I was like 16. What you're wearing right now, Jody, with called the bunny hug.
A hoodie?
It's called a bunny.
It's Saskatchewan, and it's literally only Saskatchewan. We call that a bunny hug.
That's funny. I mean, not funny. It's just interesting. Different words.
I remember going to Alberta and being like, I need a new bunny hug. And I looked through the whole store and I was like, all I'm finding are stupid hoodies. They look like bunny hugs. And it took me like 2 days to figure out that that's what that was.
That's great.
Added your words. Everybody who's watching now know 2 words.
Yes. Got my bunny hug on today.
Hey, on page 70, they talk about Carl Bastian setting up a text replacement on his phone.
Yeah, I love that.
How do you do that?
I have that set up on mine, not for church, but for something else. Like I type in the word promo and it pops up this text I had done before.
So if I Google.
Do you have iPhone or
Yes,
Google?
I have an iPhone.
It's under settings. Hold on. Settings. Messages somewhere under here. I don't know. I'm looking.
Okay, I'll take a look. If not, I'll Google it on YouTube and that'll walk you through it. Okay.
There's like, you just type in a keyword and boom, it pops up on your phone. I thought that was a great idea too.
That I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah. Again,
Sending it to the new families. Like that is something that I feel like I'm lacking it in our kids ministry, is that we have stuff we give to families. They get this little thing that says, thanks for popping in. They get popcorn and it has like our social media and our website, but I'd love to be able to follow up and be like, hey, thanks for visiting us today. This is what's happening this week. If you want to check us out in a different way or whatever.
yeah.
I have a visitor I need to text. I'll try it.
I have a lady who sends the kids a postcard. But it's also on me. I have to remember to run the visitor report off Planning Center and then email her the information. And I remember it, like I try to do it at least every other week. I try, but I know I've got this kid's name on my desk right now that I need to do that for. But I think texting a parent would be pretty cool, good follow-up too. Because they when they're here, they're just like overwhelmed by all the sight sounds, stuff they're getting, connection cards, programs, visitor bag, blah, 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 blah. They don't have a time to like process everything. And so by that follow-up text, it gives them that opportunity to maybe ask that or whatever. So I don't think I had this, but did anybody send a text to parents in their ministry this week? I don't think I had that as a question, but that is question 2 in that chapter. I didn't text, but I made like a very intentional, purposeful conversation last night, which was nice with a parent. But yeah.
I have also texted my families at one point when I'm really, organized. I'll text one family a week and be like, hey, how can I pray for you this week? And then it's just that extra, or an email. And that has become really great, especially with some of our like fringe families or ones who are, I call them inactive. So they still consider us their home church, but we haven't seen their kids in 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just a great way to hear from them, and it works.
That's good.
Yeah, I've done that when life is all the plates are on the table like they should be.
My prayer for next year in general for my ministry, I'm still waiting to see if I get it approved, but I might be getting an intern or an assistant. And if I can, my goal is to give them all this, like the busy work that I have, so that I can be more intentional with my families on stuff like this. Cause I just feel like I'm so busy that I don't get the chance to do it, and it's my own busy stuff that I've created and whatnot. But and not that I want to pass this off. I want to be the one reaching out to our families, but it'd be just nice to someone take the busy work off my hands so that I can do it. What about one new resource you can share with families to equip them for discipleship at home?
I actually went on her resource page and looked at her stuff this time, and it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen shared with me her page.
Mm-hmm.
And do y'all remember when we did virtual school and the teachers had like this, I don't know what it was. It was like a virtual classroom and they could click on different things. Okay, so I created one of those, but I don't know how to share it. So I'm still trying to figure out like, how do I take this and put it on my website?
What'd you create it on?
PowerPoint is where it told me to create it.
You should be able to load your and you got it hyperlinked, like your links you've got
Yes.
for all the things.
But if it's PowerPoint, you probably have to upload it onto your website.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll be able to just put it in and then upload it under like whatever you're calling it, and just link it as an upload. So if like depending on what your thing, so like we use, I don't know what we use some sort of back end part to our website. So if I want to put like a PowerPoint document, I have to type up the stuff, and then I have to upload the document in another place and then transfer it into the space.
Yes, I made it. I think it looks really good. I'll put it on our Facebook page, but I'm now at the point like I don't know how to install it. So I got to get some help.
You put it in our Facebook group?
I will.
Okay. Because I know I saw you posting there last week.
Yeah, let me see if
I didn't look at it. I got so busy and I was like, I'm going to look at that. And then life happened. So I'm going to go. I'll put mine on there. I have not. Oh, Jody, you weren't here. We talked about putting our websites on our thing so that we could go through them and then be able to provide feedback and be like, as someone who knows nothing about your church and nothing about your ministry, here's my initial thoughts.
Nice. I missed that.
So you can still do it because Wendy's the only one who actually did it.
I follow directions well.
And I was going to, and I got distracted by a million other things. So
Well, like, so ours, like on my website, ours just takes you to our Facebook page. Like I have a kids Facebook page. Like we don't, well, no, that's not true. There's like this thing I've been working on, but again, just so busy, I haven't finished it. We have Planning Center, and Planning Center allows you to create like a web page, but it is, but it isn't. I guess it is. But like I just have to plug everything in, and I haven't plugged everything in. So yeah, we just have a Facebook page for right now, but it has everything I'm doing on there. But nothing like what you ladies got. From the glance, I like it, Wendy.
All right, so I'm putting it in right now, the virtual office.
Okay.
Because if I don't do it now, I'll forget. So it's in under, well, I guess I put it in as a discussion. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't feel like I do a good job with helping the parents. So that's my like focus for 2024. I don't even know what year it is. 2024. Just trying to get through Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? There you are. Yeah. I have a physical parent resource wall, but I love the digital one that you have, Kristen. I think it's done very well.
My parents don't, because what I used to do, so we have like a whiteboard, and I used to print off every month. I'd have like a resource for parents to take, but my parents never took them. So I decided, you know what? I'm not putting a ton of effort into finding that kind of stuff. And so as I plan my lessons, so I just added stuff. Oh, what was I just doing? I think Armor of God maybe was what I was working on, or discipleship, something in that realm. But as I come across resources for stuff that I'm doing, then I think, hey, parents, you could take this home, and it goes. And it really helps it grow. Or like right now, my parents are asking, I've had a couple be like, we'd like some mental health resources. Or so my resourcing to parents in December, this year it'll be 3 weeks of giveaways. And so parents I put 3 to 5 books out, kids books, parent books, devotionals, all that, per week, and they can sign up. So I'm not ordering hundreds of dollars worth of books that never leave my shelf. But starting next year, we're doing, our pastor does something called Spiritual Habits, and it's like a sermon that'll happen once every or twice every 3 months kind of feel. And so then we're starting to do more, like we're going to resource that Sunday in opposed to everything else. And so when I'm researching that, that'll also plug into that stuff. So like, I think sometimes we feel like we have to do all this research, but as you're researching for lessons, as you're acquiring things, like when stuff pops up on Kids Matter that I'm like, oh, hey, that's a sweet parent resource, boom, onto my website it goes, and I'm done. Yeah, so just to encourage you that way.
You just reminded me, I highlighted that she wrote in this on page 76. You don't have to become an expert in knowledge if you're an expert in resources. I'm like, I love that, because I don't have the time to know every single thing or read every single book, because there are so many out there. But, I mean, I don't just refer any book, but like, I check with other leaders, who have read it and vetted it and are of similar, like-mindedness and whatnot. But with our parent resource wall, it's like themed, and I just buy one book. And I just throw a QR code on it. So like people aren't taking my books, or I don't print off a bunch of stuff because it's the same. I'm like, they're not taking it. So if they want something, it's just QR code sitting on my wall, and people tend to use that much more than taking stuff away. So
when it comes to vetting resources, one of the things I have found to be the most efficient is I will buy the books, and then I will ask a family in my ministry who I think might benefit from it, or who have the age range of kids that that would be looking for it. And I say, hey, can you review this book? And I give it to them, and they get to keep it. And if they don't want it, they can do whatever they want with it after. But then they give me back, and it's easier to be like, when they're like, no, we didn't use it, we didn't get to it, it was impractical, then we don't need to offer it. But when my parents, so we've done that with grandparent books, and I think it's a great way to get through all of the resources to vet it.
That's a great idea.
You pick your people, so you don't just give it to anybody.
I love that.
but it has helped to read, because there's like 1,000 parenting books on like one topic, and you're like, I can try, but if it's not even like, if it's preschoolers and you don't have a preschool anymore, you can pretend, but you can't try it out. So like I definitely have done like devotionals, and they'll be like, yeah, it was okay, but there's a lot of work. And so then like that's not a great one to be pushing unless parents are asking for it.
Mhm.
So yeah, very helpful in vetting and grandparenting and all those different ages. You just find
Yeah,
people.
that's
If you
awesome.
have a parent resource walk at your, when you get a chance, can you take a picture of it and post it on the Facebook page?
Yeah, it's right
Because I
outside.
don't
the
have one.
door. Mine right now
Yeah.
is on emotions, big feelings, mental health, but I'm about to switch it to because my parenting class is next Wednesday. I'm doing one on Bible study, Bible reading, family devotions type thing.
Okay.
So that's what I'm changing all my stuff to, and showing parents different resources that they could use outside the Bible. So
How often do you change it?
quarterly.
Okay.
So
Another thing we've done is partnered with our library. And I'll say, hey, this is what we're talking about this month. And so they will pull all of the books from the shelves, kid book, parent books, that kind of stuff, and put them in a specific section that's just for like, this is related to, so if we're learning about the Beatitudes, they'll pull everything out for Beatitudes, and then it's just accessible for parents to do. So you don't have to do the work, your library, if you have them. I don't know how many churches still have libraries, but ours is taking off. We have some very dynamic ladies who have taken over. But it has been very helpful for me to tell parents, hey, this is what we're learning. You can check out the books in the library, and they have a section just for this.
that's my library right there. If parents
Yeah, you
want
see mine.
and down there and all around. That's the extent of our library. But I don't we don't have enough like that I would let stuff parent dang. That's awesome. Yeah, we're getting there. I just started the resourcing this year, so I'm sure over time we will. There's a couple mega churches around us. Their libraries look like yours, Kristen. Like it's just a massive wall of books. It's just amazing.
We're not mega church, but like and a lot of that is like chunks. Like I have our Christmas book for our preschooler, or like our babies. We don't
Yeah.
give Christmas, like we give out a book to the babies because that's all they can handle. So a lot of it is that as well. Like I do have teaching stuff, but
Nice.
yeah, it's a thing I love. Like, the resourcing is something that I love to do. So I'm constantly collecting to share.
I love that. I think it's important. And parents know that it's there, which is awesome. Oh, all right. Last 12 minutes. Let's move on to chapter 6. People who are watching this are probably like, they're so down today. Like, I'm drained today. I just still recouping from trunk or treat last week and trick or treating the other night. And I learned too that Canadians' Smarties are different than our Smarties. Apparently your Smarties are like a M&M, like it's chocolate. At least that's my Canadian friend.
You guys, that's right. You call Rocket Smarties. Like they're like the candy.
Sugar candy.
Yeah.
That's what she said. She called them rockets. I'm like, that's so weird.
No, my husband bought a
yesterday.
whole bag of them, and they're like my like bane of existent candy. Like they're right up there with those lollipops that are made of exactly the same stuff. They're just whoa. Anyway, our Smarties are legitimate, like chocolate.
That's what I hear. Sounds good. All right. What do you guys use for scheduling volunteers? I use Planning Center, which I love. What do you guys use?
Small church uses Sign Up Genius.
Oh,
Wow.
how is that?
Google Docs.
What's that?
She said Google Docs.
Oh.
It's not bad. When I first came here, it was just an Excel spreadsheet, and I would do quarterly. And then the volunteers were like, we do too much switching. Can't you just take this and put it on Sign Up Genius? And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So I tried it with the nursery, and I put up a quarter at a time, and it worked really well. And then COVID happened, and I started just putting it up a month at a time. So like December's already up. So November's done, with signups now in December. And then as we get close to December, I'll put up January. instead of putting 3 months up at a time. It works pretty well for us. Our numbers are way down, so on everywhere. So I don't have as many volunteers as normal. So if somebody doesn't sign up, I just teach. So
Yeah, we did when I first started, it was done by someone else, and they would do like an Excel spreadsheet and then email it to everybody. And then everybody would email her back and say, I can't do this, I can't. And it was a lot of work. And so when we started using Planning Center, it's a learning curve like any new thing. But I love it because, my rule is, if you don't block out your dates, it's your job then to find a substitute. Now, granted, people get sick and last minute pop-up vacations. But my team knows that it's their responsibility. They contact me as their last resort of not finding someone. But I love Planning Center. I love it. I can make my schedule. I'm 3 months out. So like we're done through January right now. And then the first of each month I make the next month. So I just posted January's like, wait, it's November. What day is it? I don't know. It was done this week, whenever it was. But yeah, I love Planning Center. I don't know what I was doing before it. I'm so glad we have it.
1 year out. This is my schedule
Wow.
for my volunteers. We have them done in, I'm trying to move to Planning Center because we have a couple different ministries. And so they're like, I'd like to be able to block out, but this is legitly, I don't know how to make it work, but it's like, there we go. Team A, B, C, D, and all the dates from September till January, and they get, till June. The end of June is when we're done. And they get that. And it's their responsibility to swap and change and do what they want. Our volunteers currently serve 2 weeks every 8 weeks. But it has been, I find, the most effective in terms of like people telling me you can't do it. Some of them when they sign up. So I ask them in June, July, do you want to serve for the year? And then they'll be like, yes, I can, but I can't serve in November. So then we'll either, if they let me know well in advance, I'll schedule a volunteer, or if it's a last minute thing, they'll be like, who do I swap with? But they have access to, like, on the other half of that is the team makeup. So they can switch with people in their column, or not in their column, in the row.
Mm-hmm.
And it works phenomenal.
Good.
It has cut down on the amount of stress of trying to schedule people, because you're like, you've got it. I actually had a volunteer message me. Apparently I messed up and I put 2 of the same date. And she's like, hey, I was putting my dates in and I noticed that you have 2 of this date, which means the whole schedule is off. So it was like, I mean, it was January that I'd messed up. So I have plenty of time to add it. And it's a Google Doc that people get. I do want to use Planning Center more so because I want to be able to put the information in there.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend. The amount of stress it alleviates from trying to plan 3 months, 1 month, 2 months.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, again, we use Subsplash. We've moved everything to that, and I was just looking at it, and they have a whole volunteer section. So I guess I need to research that a little bit. But I did the same thing when I wrote it out on a quarter at a time or on the back side. I think I had all the volunteers' names, phone numbers, and emails, and all you had to do was switch with somebody. And that made it pretty easy. Yep. This way there's less switching. That was their thing, was you make the schedule and then we have to switch because we had something better to do that Sunday. So
and I find though that my people are pretty good. Like they kind of will go through and they'll be like, hey, I switched with so and so, or they'll email me and they'll be like, hey, I can't be here this week, who can I switch with? And I'll say, depending on how close it is, I'll either be like, here's the list of people to talk to, or you can contact these 3 people to see if you can swap with them. And I mean, I think that every 2 weeks has been kind of nuts. Like I've definitely had a lot, but this is our first year doing it. My volunteers had said we want to serve every 2 weeks. So, but one of the churches I was at as a volunteer, they had an app, and like the church had a whole app. And so under kids ministry, you would go into your time, and then you could type in and be like, I'm looking for a sub for this, or can someone take my this, or can I switch them? And it was amazing because then everybody could see, so even as a kids, because I used to have that, I'd walk into one of my classrooms and there'd be someone else there. I was like, what? We can't have that. Like, I need to know who's serving. Now they go through me, but I would love to have an app where they could post all that stuff. So if I'm looking, because our numbers have been growing. I think we had 18 kids in one classroom the other day, and not just like they're kids that are having trouble focusing or sitting still. So it's added a lot of extra chaos. And so we've had to add extra people to pop in and be prepared. So it adds a little bit of that, but yeah.
Well, if you need help with planning center, if you guys go with that, let me know. It's like I said, it's a learning curve at first, but like once you get it, it becomes very helpful. The only thing I haven't found yet is like when it comes to switching, it's either you accept or decline. I haven't seen like, switch with, option. But like my volunteers, they just do it in our private volunteer Facebook group. That's where they put all the requests out there, or they know the other people on their teams that serve the opposite month of them, and they'll reach out to them and see if they'd switch.
I know that there is a way to email, because like I've never done it, but so we are going that way. Like our church uses it for everything, but our host team has done it where I did the grandparent conference and I said like, I want 2 people for this spot. And they apparently sent out like an email that just allowed people to click. So it's doable somehow in that center. But yeah, that's where I'm headed. It overwhelms me and scares me. I used to hate the accept and decline because I was like, no, I don't want the headache on me if you're declining.
Yeah. I've just, like I said, I've just trained my people, if you hit decline, it's your job to find a sub. Like, because I was tired of that. Like it was, because then you have to go back and switch everybody. And I'm like, nope, no more.
Set expectations.
Yes. Yep. Delegate and accountability. All right, last thing in our last few minutes, did anybody schedule a social media post of thank you to their team?
I think I did for this month. I think somewhere in this, because I do mine a month at a time for my Facebook, and in there is a thank you because it's Thanksgiving. So in there. So yes, mine's done.
I went yesterday and did a thank you. Just thank you for, I said, thank you for filling in last minute. Thank you for showing up and smiling despite the craziness of the morning. Thank you for giving up time each week to love on kids who are not your own. Thank you for investing in our kids and creating connections that make them feel part of the church and not just attending it. You guys are amazing and doing the Lord's work. Each minute you spend with SC Kids is life-changing.
Nice.
Because it's been a roller coaster of a ride with volunteers the past couple of weeks for us. But yeah, so we wanted to, if you could say a nice thank you that way.
I just read this like right before the call.
But you're gonna do it. It's on your to-do list now.
It's on my like someday I'm gonna get to it. One of the things I want to do is not just like a group one, but I've always wanted to do that volunteer highlight, and our youth did it over the summer and I loved it. They took the youth leader and then they did like a little Q&A with them that they added into the post, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I mean, we do have like triple what youth has in terms of volunteers, so it would take us a while.
Yeah,
but it's something that I want to do because I think it also adds a face to the ministry to be able to say like,
I did it for a while, and I even had it on our parent resource wall, but I hate to say it, but it was just another thing I had to keep up on, and it's just not like I can't sustain it right now. It's so cool though. I love it. And when like, especially if the volunteers, their kids see their parents up on the wall, they're like, oh my goodness, how cool. But it's just another small task to add onto your list of things to do. It's cool though. It's important, but
yeah, when we used to do a church newsletter, I would always do one on the kids page. We don't do the newsletter anymore because nobody read it. So
I used to like, I'm falling behind even. I was supposed to do like once a week. I'm supposed to do an Instagram post of like, hey, here's a faith at home. Here's something about kids, like just some random thing. I think we're going on almost a month since I made the last post. And not that I'm not, but I just, it's the bottom of the list, and 1,010 things fill that up. I need to find someone to do that who's good at that stuff, where I just have to say, this is the 6 things you're going to do in the next 6 weeks, 1 week, 1 post. But
well, I feel like this book has been very good with all of these great ideas, but I feel like they are a bunch of really great small ideas that take up more time. And then they'll reference to like there's planners or schedulers. But I'm like, yeah, I can use a schedule, but then I have to sit there and come up with the 6 weeks worth of content, in one sitting, which then takes up from other, like, so it's just finding that balance of somehow, somewhere to do all these little things in,
You almost need to do it in the lull times, but do it for like 3 months worth of
Yeah.
stuff. And then I'm like, I have no
Yes.
idea what I'm talking about in 3 months, so I don't even know if this is going to be applicable. But
Right?
I was thinking about like, well, January's lull, but then you always find every other thing. And I feel like at this point, I'm even finding it hard to fit it in my hours. Like I'm doing only what I have to do, but it's taking me the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anybody watching this video, if you know of a good lull time or a good thing to plan this when or where or how, or find free employees, free work, or interns, blah, 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 drop it in the comments and let us know.
I will say one time when we were without a youth director and I was kind of like administrating for youth until we found somebody, I did find a responsible youth person and said, because I'm not at Facebook, I'm great at Instagram, Twitter, they're not my style. And I was like, you have the keys to the kingdom. I will be checking on you. And then I called her parent and said, I really trusted her, but I need you to check behind her too. And she did great. She took over social media for the youth group during that time.
Speaking of Facebook, Instagram, they now have something called Meta. And that's what I used for youth. It was phenomenal. You go in and you can post on both sites the same thing at the same time, and it does it for you. And you don't have to worry about trying to do both. I haven't figured out how to mold ours two together yet, because one is under my name and one is under a different account. I don't know. And I'm afraid I don't want it to be on my personal stuff either. So I'm figuring that out. But it worked for youth phenomenally.
Okay.
Yeah, I could probably connect it to our church Instagram. I don't have an Instagram for our kids, but I might be able to connect it because nobody uses the church Instagram.
Could just be, an area thing. So if your people don't use it, I wouldn't worry about.
I think people use Instagram in our area. I just don't. The church doesn't. We don't have anybody to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's a way though to also mold it with a couple other. I like they just have Facebook and that, but I mean you might even be able to do like a Twitter. I don't know if Twitter does it, if it's the same thing, or if because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company now, if they can do that. I don't know. But it's
do we call Twitter now that it's X? Do we still call it Twitter?
I have no idea. I call it Twitter because I call it Twitter. I don't know if that's appropriate. If that's the right.
I don't know. I was just asking.
I forgot it was X.
Twitter.
I do too.
Yeah. X is not a popular thing. So Twitter people, if you're watching this, it's not. No, don't call it.
X sounds not very nice, clean, good. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got to bounce. I got to go pick up 2 crazy kids who are probably still hyped up on candy. So, but this was a good chat still. It was good, short and sweet, to the point. Next week's chapters 7 and 8 with social media and technology and administration. And I'll post questions for it later this week. But have a good weekend, guys.
Thanks, I'll do.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.